So how do you create a NumPy array? So we can create a NumPy array from a Python list. So the elements inside the square bracket, it represents a Python list. And if you want to change it to a NumPy array, you just type in np.array. So the function array is going to change the list to an array. Okay, so what is X? X is array of 3, 5, 7, and 5. So you will notice that the list that we gave was 3.0575, but when we print X, we will see that it changes it to float. So 5 point, 7 point, and 5 point again. So it changed all the integer values to floats. Okay. And this is what happens when there is a mixture of integer and floats. It will always change it into one type, and for this case, it will be floats. Okay, so like I mentioned, NumPy arrays, array elements, they are all of the same type. Okay, another difference from lists is that NumPy arrays can have more dimension. And how do you write that, or how do you define more dimension is by typing in your lists and then separating each of those lists by comma. That will create a multi-dimensional array. In this case, we've created a 3-dimensional array. So the first list represents the first row, the second, it represents the second row, and the third list represents the third row. So let's print A and see how it looks. So here you go. You will see that all the rows, they are aligned one beneath the other. And as you can see, it will always have this array mentioned before. Okay, so how do we access the individual elements of a NumPy array? The individual elements, they're addressed with indices in square brackets. So let's recall what X was. X was an array that was 3, 5, 7, and 5. So if we want to access the first element, we just do X of 0 because we want to access the first element. So we do X of 0 and we see it's 3. So now let's see how we can access 2-dimensional ones, okay? So if you remember, A was a 3-dimensional array. And so for 3-dimensional arrays, we need to specify the row number first, followed by the column number. So let's say we want to access 7. Then what we do is we write A of 1, comma 2. So 1 means the row number, okay? So 3, 5, 7 is the first row. And the second column is 6, 7, 2, okay? So the first column is 8, 3, 4, the second is 1, 5, 9, and the third one is 6, 7, 2. And 2 means the third column. So if you type in 1 and 2, then the intersection point is 7. Okay, so this is how we can access 7. So can anybody tell me what A of 2, 0 would be? Does everyone agree? Okay. So to select more than one index, we use colon, as we do with lists. So how we do that is, first let's recall X. X is an array 3575. So let's say we want to access elements 0 through 2. Okay, so we just enter a colon between the numbers. And so these are the index number, right? So 0 would be the first element, and then 2 is the third element. So when we print that, you'll see that you will get 3 and 5. But you need to be careful, because you will not get the element 2 in this new array. You will only get the first 2 elements. So this is something that you need to remember. The number, if n is the last number that you add, then n minus 1 will be the elements that will be displayed. So in this case, n will be 2. So this is tricky, and you need to remember that. So if we want to get to the third element, to get 2, you have to add in 3 after the colon. So x was 3575. So if we want 7, then we have to specify x 0 colon 3, meaning we will get 3, 5, and 7. So this is also called as a non-inclusive upper limit. So it does not include the number, the upper limit. Okay. Okay, so how about a colon comma 2? So what does this access? Now, if you recall that A was this multidimensional, 3-dimensional array to be exact, and this colon, so nothing before the colon means that you want to access all the rows. Okay, and the second number, it represents the column. So here we are saying that we want all the numbers for column 2. So we want 6, 7, and 2. So when we want all the rows, then we just need to add a colon and nothing before the colon. I think you were, sorry, I'll give you some time. Okay. So multidimensional, it means that the array has a shape, right? It could be a square, it could be a rectangular. And how do you report the shape of the array? You will use the shape attribute, okay? So you just have to type a.shape to know the shape. So for A, it was a 3 by 3 array. It had 3 rows and 3 columns. Okay. Now, let's say we want to change the shape to a 1-dimensional array. Then there is a function for that as well, and that's called flatten. So you simply use flatten to change the shape from a 3-dimensional or higher dimensional to just one single dimension. And you type in a.flatten to change it, and then you assign it to another variable because you don't want to change the shape of A, but you want to add it to another variable. So now B will become a 1-dimensional array.